Well, hey y'all. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the evening report. It's Thursday. Thursday, it's the evening report. We've done it 3 days in a row. Does that mean that we're going to continue to do it? No, that doesn't mean that at all. It means that we're going to give it a good try to see how it works. How about that? Today, this is sort of a James Bondy-ish kind of thing, but not really. This is an episode that we're entitling "The Spy Who Loved Me." A suspected Chinese intelligence operative developed extensive ties with local and national politicians, including a U.S. congressman. You know who that is? Don't get ahead of me. In what the U.S. officials believed was a political intelligence operation run by the China main civilian spy agency between 2011 and 2015. Axios, not townhall.com, not not some, conservative think tank, but Axios found in a year-long investigation somebody actually doing journalism. Wow. Why it's important? I'll tell you why it's important. The alleged operations offers a rare window into how Beijing has tried to gain access and influence in U.S. political circles. Now, what we know now is because of some of this, they've been able to buy up property. Can you imagine what's actually happening? The Chinese are buying property, farmland. They are getting to the place where they are controlling our food. How this is happening? This may shed a little light on how this is happening. So while the suspected operatives' activities appear to have ended during the Obama administration, concerns about Beijing's influence operations have spanned President Trump's time in office and into Biden's term in office, of course, as well, and will continue to be a core focus for the U.S. counterintelligence during the Biden administration. It is crazy. The woman at the center of the operation is a Chinese national named Fang, or Christine Fang, targeted up-and-coming local politicians in the San Francisco Bay Area and across the country who had the potential to make it big on the national stage. Through campaign fundraising, extensive networking, personal charisma, and romantic and sexual relationships with at least two Midwestern mayors, Fang was able to gain proximity to political power, according to current and former U.S. intelligence officials and one former elected official. Even though U.S. officials do not believe Fang received or passed on classified information, the case was a big deal because there were some really, really sensitive people that were caught up in the intelligence network, and current senior U.S. intelligence officials said private but unclassified information about governmental officials, such as their habits, preferences, schedules, social networks, even rumors about them, is a form of political intelligence. Collecting such information is a key part of what foreign intelligence agencies do. Among the most significant targets of Fang's efforts was Representative Eric Swalwell, Democrat from California. Fang took part in fundraising activities for Swalwell's 2014 re-election campaign, according to the San Francisco Bay Area political operative and the current U.S. intelligence official. Swalwell's office was directly aware of these activities on its behalf. The political operative said the same political operative who witnessed Fang fundraising on Swalwell's behalf found no evidence of illegal contributions. They weren't trying to do that. They were what? They were in the mix doing all they could, right? The Federal Election Commission records don't indicate Fang herself made donations, which would be prohibited from foreign nationals. But do you think that the Chinese government knew that? Well, of course they did. Fang helped place at least one intern in Swalwell's office. At least one. According to the same two people, and interacted with Swalwell at multiple events over the course of several years. The statement from Swalwell's office provided to Axios said Representative Swalwell long ago provided information about this person who he met more than 8 years ago and whom he hasn't seen in nearly 6 years, to the FBI. To protect information that may be classified, he will not participate in your story. Now, stop, Eric. You slept with, had a sexual relationship with what everybody knows now is a Chinese spy. And now you're worried about something that might get out that might be classified? Are you serious? Here's what happened. Amid a widening counterintelligence probe, federal investigators became so alarmed by Fang's behavior and activities that around 2015, they alerted Swalwell to their concerns. They told him, giving him what is known as a defensive briefing. He immediately cut off all ties to Fang, according to the current U.S. intelligence official, and he has not been accused of any wrongdoing. Well, the wrongdoing, in our opinion, is that he's got the judgment of a 4-year-old. Fang left the country unexpectedly, not so unexpectedly, her job was done here, in mid-2015 amid the investigation. She did not respond in multiple attempts by Axios to reach her by email and Facebook. She's underground, she's gone. So, look between the lines here. The case demonstrates China's strategy in cultivating relationships that may take years or even decades to bear fruit. The Chinese government party knows that today's mayors and city council members are tomorrow's governors and members of Congress. Here's something that's different about the Eastern mentality and the Western mentality that I've learned. The Eastern mentality is, if it isn't anything, it is patient. It is patient. It isn't a election cycle to election cycle sort of mentality. It's a decade or a 25-year plan or a 50-year plan. A plan that's going to outlive the planners. That's what it's about. So when Swalwell says, I haven't seen her in 6 years or 3 election cycles, he figures that might as well, as far as he's concerned, that might have been, ancient times. Not for the Chinese. In the years since the Fang probe, the FBI has prioritized investigation into Chinese influence operations, creating a whole unit in May of 2019 within the Bureau solely dedicated to the countering Beijing's activity at the state and local levels. The U.S. national security officials believe the threat posed by the Chinese has only grown with time. And what did we say at the beginning of this piece? That as we look, we can see what the Chinese buying up, large swaths of farmland. How was this possible? Well, is it possible because they are constantly building relationships with important people to make sure they have an open door to this kind of policy? I think so. She was just one of lots of agents, said a current senior U.S. Intelligence official. I mean, she wasn't a one-off. There was bunches of people. Beijing is engaged in a highly sophisticated, malign foreign influence campaign, FBI Director Chris Wray said in July of 2020. These efforts involve subversive, undeclared, criminal, or coercive attempts to sway our government's policies, distort our country's public discourse, and undermine confidence in our democratic processes and values, Wray said. Of course, the FBI declined a comment. The Chinese embassy in Washington did not respond for a comment. You think? All right. Here's what's happened. The Republicans have taken over the House of Representatives. We know that, right? And there are some Democrats who have not been placed back on the same committees, right? So one of them is Eric Swalwell, Democrat from California. Now, all the things I just told you were true. And you're thinking, holy crap, really? Really? Yes, all of the things I just told you were true. So, Representative Eric Swalwell from California, who is still representative somehow, amazingly enough, thanks to the voters of California, is blaming Speaker of the House, Kevin McCarthy, another Republican from California, for being threatened by people who, he's blaming him because he's being threatened by people who parrot the Republican, say what the Republican says. Like me, I guess. So during an interview with MSNBC, Swalwell claimed that McCarthy is removing him from his committee assignments because of political vengeance. Probably not. This is probably why.
Driver of more than 10 years was a Chinese spy in Silicon Valley. They've been in pictures together. This woman, a Chinese spy, creates a relationship with Swalwell when he's in the city council. He runs for Congress. She helps. She puts interns in his office. Do you know how difficult it is to get on the Intel committee? When Swalwell was put on the Intel committee, they were in the minority, so they had fewer seats. He was a sophomore getting put on the Intel committee. He's kept on the Intel committee. This woman.
They were warning them that there was a spy, basically, right?
Yeah.
I wonder how they knew she was a spy, right? She wasn't just spy, and then you had a mayor and other parts. Think about how big your spy mechanism must be if you have enough money to have a spy that cares about you when you're in the city council, or talks about you getting to Congress.
There's some real planning
they
involved
put a long
here.
term Manchurian candidate. Remember, Swalwell ran for president. The only thing he has left is a bunch of shoelaces or something, but I don't know. He spent the most money on that. But anyways, now you know this. You put him on, you did not know. Now you know as a leader. Okay, if Swalwell was in the private sector, he could not get a security clearance because he had a relationship with a spy. But only in America can he be given the Intel committee where he knows all the secrets. But there's 200 other Democrats who are qualified to be on that slot, and she keeps appointing. What I know with what the FBI told me, he should never be on Intel. And Pelosi reappointed him to Intel. I don't understand this.
Have you said this to her?
Yes.
What did she say?
But this is worse. I brought a motion to the floor to remove him from Intel, put another Democrat on. The Democrats all defended. They don't even have the briefing from the FBI, but they defended him having on. And think about this. He cannot get a security clearance in the private sector, but they voted to let him have the security clearance of American secrets.
Well, you wonder why. Well, that's why. He slept with the dude slept with a Chinese spy. Now this other cat who lied about this Republican who lied about everything that he's ever done in his life and now is in Congress, is an awful human being and should rethink his life and maybe be censured by Congress for sure, and definitely shouldn't be put on the Intelligence Committee. But Swalwell's on the Intelligence Committee. Again, like McCarthy said, this is a dude, because of his relationships with a Chinese spy, couldn't get a security clearance in the private sector. But he's sitting on a committee learning all the secrets anyway. So this idea that, Swalwell is thinking that, what did he say? He said that McCarthy is trying to heat up leftovers of a story that goes back to Barack Obama's first term. You see, his idea is like, oh, that was such a long time ago, it's over. No, you slept with a Chinese spy. That's never over. Eric, that's never over. That's never not going to be a consideration, especially when you are, in government and you have a chance to learn our nation's secrets. No, that's never going to go away. A lot of people will go, so when are you going to forgive him? I can forgive him now, but he can't have the same space. And this is something that a lot of us screw up about forgiveness. So you're going to hold him responsible for that forever? Yes. Yes. If someone does me wrong, I might indeed forgive them. I might. But that doesn't mean I have to let them have the same space, the same position in my life as I did before. If somebody you know what, steals a bunch of money from you, worked for you, and steals a bunch of money from you, you may forgive them, but you don't make them treasurer of your company again. Do you? That's not forgiveness. That's stupidity. You may actually release them from their crime, but you don't put them back in the same position again. That's a position of trust, and they have misused that trust. Eric Swalwell had a position of trust. He has misused that trust. He is to not have it again. That's all this is about. So this idea, that was such a long time ago, it doesn't matter. The Democrat was referring again to his alleged affair that he had with the Chinese spy, Christine Fang, or Fang, back in 2014. As you heard, McCarthy said he was informed to keep Swalwell far away from committees after an FBI briefing. So the FBI got with Kevin McCarthy and said, keep this dude off committees. He's compromised. So they must, the FBI believes that Eric Swalwell is compromised. And that's a big deal. That's a huge deal. To have an American official at the federal level be deemed compromised by a foreign company, by a foreign government. That means he can't be trusted in anything. He's completely compromised. And that's what the FBI is saying. Unfortunately, there are people threatening, supposedly, allegedly, threatening Swalwell and his family. So if you're one of these people, just stop. Because that's just ate up. That whole thing that you would threaten a dude's family and threaten him with bodily harm or injury, that's just ate up with a dumbass. Please stop it. Also blaming Kevin McCarthy for the stuff that you find yourself in because you are sleeping with a Chinese spy, and blaming him for the position that you put yourself in is also ate up with a dumbass. So please stop it. I have an idea. Resign. You have brought dishonor to yourself and to your nation. Resign. So in August, Swalwell said the office had received a phone call from a man who vowed to kill him with an assault rifle. An assault rifle? That seems kind of specific. Can I shoot you with my assault rifle? Seems pretty specific, right? Blaming McCarthy and former President Trump for being, quote, the architects of the violent times that the U.S. has supposedly become. Because they have to blame somebody, right? You have put yourself in this mess, Representative Swalwell, because you couldn't control your willy. Couldn't do it, right? Congressman continued to say that McCarthy's, quote, accusations will lead to much bigger consequences than leaving Swalwell off of committees. McCarthy has kept his promise of removing the Democrat from his assignments in the 118th Congress. Swalwell can't get a security clearance in the private sector. I'm not going to give him government security clearance. The White House, the House Speaker said in a quote to Punch Bowl Times, and we just saw him say the very same thing on this clip of the of the Rubin report, right? We just saw that. What do you think? What do you think? What do you think ought to happen to Eric Swalwell, if anything? Has enough time gone by where you're thinking, well, bygones should be bygones? Are you? Write it down here in the comments. Write it down here in the comments. All right, again, welcome to the Evening Report. My name is Willie Lawson. The Evening Report is a production of FightBackMedia.com, 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 and FightBackMediaTV.com. Until we see you again, go out there and learn something, love somebody, and for goodness sakes, y'all take care of yourself. We will see you when we see you.